Good day, everyone. My name is Teacher Elle, and for today, I am going to discuss or review you guys on the subject, the Survey of Afro-Asian Literature. And this review is for the upcoming BLEPT review for 2025. But before we begin our review or discussion on this subject, let us recall what are the things that we should know about this subject, which is the Survey of Afro-Asian Literature. So one of the aims of this subject is for us to introduce two literary works from Africa, Asia, and also the Third World. And it's often focusing on both canonical and marginalized texts. And this course or this subject emphasizes the historical, cultural, and socio-political context in which these works were created, including customs, traditions, and philosophies of life. Are we clear on that? Very good. So without further ado, let's begin our review in the Survey of Afro-Asian Literature. Okay, let's begin with our first question. This is an easy one. So question number 1. What term derived from the Latin root literatura traditionally refers to imaginative works of poetry and prose distinguished by their author's intentions and aesthetic excellence? Again, the question is, what term derived from the Latin root word literatura traditionally refers to imaginative works of poetry and prose distinguished by their author's intentions and aesthetic excellence? The choices are letter A, manuscript, B, literature, C, documentation, or letter D, composition. Pause this video so you can answer this question. Okay, so the correct answer is letter B, literature. So why literature? So when we say literature comes from the Latin word literatura and specifically refers to written works, particularly imaginative poetry and prose, that are valued for their artistic merit and the aesthetic quality of their execution. So that is literature for us. And I know that all of us or most of us are familiar with literature, correct? Did you guys get the right answer? Very good. So let's review of the answer. Why is it literature and why not the manuscript, documentation, and composition? So let's start with manuscript. So when we say manuscript, although it is a written work, the term comes from the Latin manus, which means hand, and scriptus, which means written, and not from literatura. And also, manuscript refers to the physical form of writing or handwritten documents rather than to the artistic or imaginative content described in the passage. Okay, are we clear on manuscript? Okay, so next is documentation. So when we say documentation, this term refers to the recorded information or evidence, and it's typically factual records or official papers. And it doesn't derive from the word literatura and doesn't specifically refer to imaginative work that is being valued for their aesthetic excellence. And when we say documentation is more about preserving information than creating an artistic expression. Okay, are we clear on that? Okay, next is composition. So when we say composition, yes, we can say that composition is also a written work, but it actually comes from the Latin word componere, okay, which means to put together, and not literatura. Okay, and in composition, when we say composition is a broader term that can apply to any act of creating or arranging elements. For example, musical composition, artistic composition, what else, and etc. And it doesn't specifically denote the imaginative and aesthetically distinguished works that is being described in the passage. So that's the explanation why the correct answer for question number 1 is literature. Are we clear on that? Very good. So let's proceed with the question number 2. Okay, so let's move on to question number 2. As we all know, when we say prose, it is a ordinary writing that flows through regular grammatical conventions and does not contain a formal metrical structure. The question is, which of the following is not an example of prose? Oh, interesting. Again, the question is, as we all know, again, prose is ordinary writing that flows through regular grammatical conventions and does not contain a formal metrical structure. The question is, which of these or which of the following is not an example of prose? The choices are letter A, novelette, B, essay, C, autobiography, or letter D, elegy. So again, pause this video so you can answer. Okay, so the correct answer is letter D, elegy. Did you guys get it? Okay, so why elegy? Because when we say elegy is a type of poem. An elegy is typically written to mourn or lament someone who has died. And in poetry or as poetry, it often contains a formal metrical structure, rhythm, and other poetic devices that distinguish it from the ordinary writing that defines prose. Are we clear on this? Very good. So again, the correct answer for this question is letter D, elegy. Alright, so let's have an explanation why question number 2 is not novelette, essay, and also autobiography. Okay, so let's start with novelette. So when we say novelette, this is a prose actually, and a novelette is a short novel or long short story that is written in ordinary language with regular grammatical conventions, and there's no formal metrical structure on it. Okay, let's move on with B, essay. Also, essay is a prose. Essays are usually written, it is a written compositions that actually expresses ideas, arguments, or observations in ordinary language following standard grammatical rules. Okay, that is essay for us. Let's have letter C, autobiography. So, autobiography, again, for the third time, autobiography is a prose. And autobiographies are usually written, it is a written account of a person's life that is being told in ordinary language with conventional grammar and sentence structure. So, again, that's the explanation why elegy is the answer for number 2 and not novelette, essay, and also autobiography. Did you guys get it? Very good. If so, let's move on to question number 3. Okay, so let's move on to question number 3. This is also an easy one. So for question number 3, the question is, this is an expression of feelings and ideas that is usually have intensity by the use of distinctive style and rhythm. Again, the question is, This is an expression of feelings and ideas that usually have intensity by the use of distinctive style and rhythm. The choices are letter A, poetry, B, prose, C, essay, or letter D, novel. Again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer is letter A, poetry. So why poetry? When we say poetry, it is specifically characterized by the expression of feelings and ideas with intensity, and it distinctively uses style elements such as rhythm, meter, figurative language or speech, and condensed expression to create an emotional impact. So that's poetry for us. So again, the correct answer for this number is letter A, poetry. Okay, so let's discuss why prose, essay, and novel are the incorrect answers for the question number 3. So let's start with prose. So when we say prose, prose can also express feelings and ideas, but it specifically flows through a regular grammatical conventions, and it does not contain a formal metrical structure as stated in the previous question earlier. And prose are typically do not emphasize a distinctive rhythm as a defining characteristic. Okay, so let's move on with essay. So again, when we say essay, essays are a form of prose. Again, it is a prose writing that usually represents or presents ideas, arguments, or observations. And while they can be stylistically distinctive, essays do not typically emphasize a rhythm or the intense expression of feelings that we are looking for. It couldn't be found in the definition in this question. So let's have novel. So when we say novel, novel are the extended work of prose fiction. So like essays also, novels can also express feelings and ideas, but they don't typically use distinctive rhythm as a key feature, and they are written in the in ordinary prose rather than the condensed rhythmically distinctive style that is being described in the question. So that's the explanation as to why the answer for number 3 is poetry. Are we clear? Very good. If this question is clear, let us move on to question number 4. Okay, so let's move on to question number 4. So for question number 4, which of the following is an example of fiction? Ooh, this also an easy question for you guys to answer. So again, question number 4 is which of the following is an example of fiction? Letter A, biography. B, English textbook. C, short story. Or letter D, documentary. So again, pause this video so you can answer the question. So the correct answer is letter C, short story. So again, when we say short story, it is a work of fiction, meaning it presents imagined or imaginative characters, events, and situations that are created by the author's imagination, even if it may be inspired by real-life events. So again, the correct answer is short story. Okay, so let's discuss the 3 other options as to why they are incorrect and not the correct answer for this question. So let's start with biography. So again, when we say biography or non-fiction. A biography is a factual account of real person's life. This is also based on research, interviews, and documented evidences. And while it may be written in an engaging narrative style, biography aims to present a true information about an actual person. Next, let's move on to textbook or English textbook or any other textbook. Textbooks are also non-fiction. So textbooks also presents factual informations, theories, and established knowledge in a particular field of study. The aim of a textbook is to educate the readers with accurate research information rather than imaginative content. So that is textbook for us. Last, let's discuss documentary. So when we say documentary, again, this is a non-fiction. A documentary presents a factual information, and these informations are about real events, real people or subjects, even though it may use a creative presentation techniques, especially when you are documenting something that has happened in real life, and some of the things or some of the informations that you're going to cover are not for all. So you have to tweak or you have to modify some of informations so it can be for the audience. And also, it's the primary purpose of a documentary is to inform us and educate us about actual occurrences or what are the things that are happening in this world that we don't know or we don't have any knowledge about or we are not aware of. Okay? Are we clear on this? Very good. If that's so, let's move on to question number 5, and we are half through. So, before we begin our 5th question, I would like to ask you, how are your points? Are you guys catching up with the points? Did you get all of the questions correct? If so, very good. If no, then still very good. At least all of us are learning in this video. Okay, so let's proceed with the question number 5. Again, we're already half through the 10 questions for this subject, the survey of the Afro-Asian literature. Okay, so question number 5. This approach, the approach's primary goal is to determine how such elements work together with the text's content to shape its effects upon the reader. Again, question number 5. This approach's primarily goal is to determine how such elements work together with the text's content to shape its effects upon the readers. The choices are letter A, historical criticism, B, formalist criticism, C, biographical criticism, or letter D, sociological criticism. Again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer for question number 5 is letter B, formalist criticism. Did you guys get it? Okay, so let's discuss formalist criticism. So formalist criticism, also known as new criticism, it focuses specifically on analyzing how literary elements within the text itself, such as structure, style, imagery, symbolism, tone, and language. And these elements, they are working together to create meaning and effect on the reader or us. And this formalist criticism approach examines the text as a self-contained unit. So again, the correct answer is letter B, formalist criticism. Okay, so let's discuss the historical criticism, biographical criticism, and sociological criticism because these choices are incorrect and not the correct answer for the question number 5. So let's begin with historical criticism. So when we say historical criticism, this approach focuses on understanding a literary work within its historical context. So from the word itself, historical, yes. It also examines how historical events and cultural conditions influence the work rather than focusing primarily on how textual elements work together to affect the readers. Okay? So let's discuss biographical criticism. So in this criticism, this analyzes literature by examining the author's life experiences. So from the word itself, again, biographical. Experiences, the personal background, and how this influenced the work. So generally, it looks outside the text to the author's biography rather than focusing on how elements within the text creates effects. Okay, so last, let's discuss the sociological criticism. So in this criticism, it examines literature in relation to social structures. So from the word itself, sociological. Again, social structures, class systems, cultural norms, and societal issues. This criticism focuses on the social context and implications rather than on how textual elements combine to shape readers' response. Are we clear on this? Very good. If so, let's proceed with question number 6. Okay, so let's have question number 6. So the question for this number is, this approach rejects the traditional assumption that language can accurately represent reality. Again, question number 6. This approach rejects the traditional assumption that language can accurately represent reality. The choices are letter A, reconstructionist criticism. Letter B, formalist criticism. C, Marxist criticism. Or letter D, feminist criticism. So again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer is letter A, deconstructionist criticism. So what is this criticism? This criticism is developed by philosophers like Jacques Derrida, and it is fundamentally challenges the idea that language can provide stable, accurate representations of reality. This approach also argues that language is inherently unstable, with meanings constantly shifting and contradicting themselves, making it impossible to pin down definitive interpretations or representations of reality. So again, the correct answer for this question is letter A, the constructionist criticism. Okay, so let's discuss the other criticisms that are incorrect for this question. So let's start with the formalist criticism. So when we say formalist criticism, this criticism focuses on analyzing the formal elements within the text. So again, for the example or the elements of the formalist criticism includes the structure, the style, imagery, etc. And this criticism generally assumes that language can convey meaning effectively, and formalists work within the assumption that careful analysis can reveal how language creates specific effects and meanings to the readers. So that is formalist criticism for us. So let's move on to Marxist criticism. So when we say Marxist criticism, it analyzes literature through the lens of class struggle, economic systems, and social power structures. While it may critique how language is used to perpetuate certain ideologies, it doesn't fundamentally reject the assumption that language can represent reality. Rather, it examines the whose reality is being represented. So that is Marxist for us. So let's move on to feminist criticism. So when we say feminist criticism, this criticism examines literature through the perspective of gender relations, especially in women's experiences and in patriarchal structures. I'm sorry. Like in Marxist criticism, it also may critique whose reality is represented in this literature. However, it doesn't reject the fundamental capacity of language to represent the reality. So again, that's the explanation for the other criticisms that are not or the incorrect answer for this question. Are we clear on that? If so, let's move on to question number 7. Okay, so for question number 7, we're almost done. So for question number 7, the question is, the Marxist criticism falls under what type of criticism? Whoa! Again, question number 7, the question is, the Marxist criticism falls under what type of criticism? Letter A, formalist criticism. B, biographical criticism. C, sociological criticism. Or letter D, psychological criticism. Again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer is letter C, sociological criticism. Why sociological criticism? Because when we say Marxist criticism, it is a type or it falls under the sociological criticism because Marxist criticism analyzes literature through the lens of social structures, economic systems, class relations, and power dynamics within the society. It also examines how literature reflects, reinforces, or challenges social hierarchies and economic conditions, making it fundamentally concerned, yes, with societal issues. So again, the correct answer for this number is letter C, sociological criticism. Did you guys get it? Okay, so let's discuss the 3 other criticisms that is incorrect for the question number 7. Although, I think you already know why formalist, biographical, and psychological criticism are incorrect for this number. So again, let's discuss formalist criticism. So again, this approach focuses on the internal elements of the text. Okay, the structure, the style, the language, the imagery, and this criticism treats the work as a self-contained unit. Okay. So for the biographical criticism, again, it analyzes literature by examining the author's experience or the personal life and background. While the Marxist criticism, again, might consider an author's class background, and its primary focus is on broader social and economic systems rather than individual biography. And lastly, psychological criticism. So when we say psychological criticism, this criticism examines literature through psychological theories, focusing on characters, mental states, unconscious motivations, or the author's psychological condition. Because it's psychological criticism. And in Marxist criticism, this concerns with the social and economic structures rather than individual psychology. So the correct answer for this question is letter C, sociological criticism. Are we clear on that? Okay, if so, let's move on to question number 8. Okay, so let's have question number 8. We're almost done. So for this question, the question is, which of the following qualities is most distinctively characteristic of African countries compared to other continents? So again, question number 8, which of the following qualities is most distinctively characteristic of an African countries compared to other continents? The choices are letter A, diverse climate zones ranging from tropical to temperate. Letter B, presence of major river systems for transportation. Letter C, agricultural economies based on crop cultivation. Or letter D, rich linguistic diversity with over 2,000 indigenous languages. Again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer is letter D, rich linguistic diversity with over 2,000 indigenous languages. So it's because in Africa stands out globally for its extraordinary linguistic diversity. Again, with they estimated almost 2,000 to 3,000 languages that is being spoken across the continent of Africa. This represents about 1/3 of the world's languages, despite Africa having only about 16% of the world's population. With this linguistic richness, spanning major languages families like, I'm sorry for the word, the Niger Congo, Afro-Asiatic, Nilo-Saharan, and Khoisan is unmatched by any other continent. So again, the correct answer is letter D, rich linguistic diversities with over 2,000 indigenous languages. Okay, so let's discuss now why the three other choices are incorrect for question number 8. So let's start with letter A. The explanation to this is let's just say yes, Africa does have a diverse climates. But also this feature is also shared with other large continents like in Asia, North America, and South America, which also span multiple climate zones from tropical to polar regions. So that's why A is not the correct answer. Let's move on to letter B. Many continents actually have significant river systems. Asia has the the Yangtze, and the Ganges. And in North America, they have the Mississippi, and in South America, they have the Amazon. I know Europe also have the Danube. And this characteristic or this feature is not unique to Africa. Okay, so last letter C. When we talk about agricultural economies, they exist on every continent, and they are not only distinctive to Africa. And as we all know, many countries worldwide or all parts of the world, particularly developing nations across the Asia, Latin America, and other regions, they have economies heavily dependent on agriculture. So that's the explanation why letter D is the correct answer. Are you guys clear with this? Very good. If so, let's move on to question number 9. Okay, let's have question number 9. So for question number 9, she is known for these novels: When Rain Clouds Gather, Maru, and A Question of Power. Again, question number 9. She is known for these novels: While Rain Clouds Gather, Maru, and A Question of Power. Letter A, Bessie Head. B, Nadine Gordinier. C, Doris Lessing. Or letter D, Chinua Achebe. Okay, so the correct answer is letter A, Bessie Head. So let's discuss or let us introduce who Bessie Head is. So Bessie Head, she is born in 1937 and died on 1986. She is a South African born Botswanan writer who authored these three significant novels. When Rain Clouds Gather, she published this in the 1969, was her first novel, followed by Maru in 1971 and A Question of Power in 1973. She is considered as one of the America's most important female writers because she is known for exploring themes of exile, identity, and social justice. So, again, the correct answer for this is letter A, Bessie Head. Did you guys get it? Okay, so let's discuss Nadine Gordinier, Doris Lessing, and Chinua Achebe. So let's start with Nadine. So Nadine was a prominent South African writer, and she is actually a Nobel Prize winner. And she is also known for different works such as Burger's Daughter, July's People, and The Conservationist. And again, the three novels in the question are not mentioned in her works. Okay. So next is Doris Lessing. So Doris Lessing, she is born in Rhodesia, and by the way, Rhodesia is now the country Zimbabwe. She wrote about African themes, and she is best known for works like The Golden Notebook, The Grass is Singing, and The Good Terrorist. Okay, so let's have Chinua Achebe. So Achebe was a highly influential Nigerian writer, but he is a male. So the question, it specifies the pronoun she, and Achebe is a he. And he is famous for the novels like Things Fall Apart, No Longer at Ease, and Arrow of God. So those novels are not mentioned in this particular number, so therefore the correct answer is letter A, Bessie Head. Are we clear on this? Very good. If so, let's move on to the final question. Alright, so let's have the final question. So the final question is the novel Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie primarily focuses on which historical event? Again, the question is the novel Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie primarily focuses on which historical event? Letter A, the apartheid system in South Africa. B, the independence movement in Kenya. C, the Nigerian Civil War, or also known as the Biafran War. Or letter D, the colonial period in Nigeria. Again, pause this video so you can answer the question. Okay, so the correct answer for the final question is letter C, the Nigerian Civil War, or also known as the Biafran War. So, Half of a Yellow Sun, which is published in 2006 by again Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, it centers on this Nigerian Civil War that occurred in 1967 up to 1970. And this, the novel follows the lives of several characters during the devastating conflict, and it also explores the political, social, and personal impacts of the war. And the title itself refers to the symbol on the flag of the short-lived Republic of Biafra. So again, the correct answer is letter C, the Nigerian Civil War, or also known as the Biafran War. Are we clear? Did you guys get it? Very good. Okay, so let's discuss the other choices that are incorrect for this final question. So let's start with letter A, which is the apartheid system in South Africa. So the apartheid in South Africa was a significant historical period in African literature. But this was a South African system of racial segregation, and half of a yellow sun is set in Nigeria, and it also deals with a different historical context entirely. So that's the incorrect answer. So let's have letter B, the independence movement in Kenya. So this refers to the struggle of Kenya for independence from the British rule. This particularly the Mau Mau uprising. And this is a different African country and historical period from what Adichie depicts in her Nigerian focused novel. So again, that's the incorrect answer. And last, letter D, the colonial period in Nigeria. So the Nigeria's colonial history is important in understanding or to understand the country's contexts. Her novel is set in a post-independence period during the Civil War, which is around in 1960s. And it's not during the British colonial rule, which ended in 1960. So again, that's the incorrect answer, and the correct answer is the Nigerian Civil War, which is also known as the Biafran War. Did you guys get it? Very good. Now, my question to you is, who among you got the perfect score? Very good. I just want to say thank you for participating in this video and interacting in this video, and I hope that this video or this material can help you to review more specifically in this subject, which is the survey in the Afro-Asian literature, and I hope that my insights can help you in reviewing this lesson. Okay? Thank you so much again for this wonderful opportunity. And again, my name is Teacher Elle, and have a good day.